The New York City Parks Department would like to welcome you to this presentation, which is part of the public scoping meeting for the Water Supply Plan and Environmental Impact Statement. My name is Carlos Martinez, and I am the Chief of NYC Parks Grintham. The project team and I welcome you to provide feedback following the presentation and would like to thank you for participating in this public scoping meeting. In this presentation, I will introduce the Water Supply Plan and Environmental Impact Statement, review the project timeline, and demonstrate opportunities for comments. The purpose of this public scoping meeting is to engage stakeholders, community gardeners, and communities impacted by the proposed plan. This project is led by Grintham, a program that sustains over 550 community gardens and supports thousands of volunteer gardeners throughout New York City. Grintham is proud to be the nation's largest urban community gardening program. Grintham facilitates free access to land and provides gardening materials, technical assistance, educational workshops, as well as seasonal public programs. Across the 5 boroughs of New York City, there are over 550 community gardens within the Grintham network. Most community gardens in New York City were abandoned lots transformed by volunteers into green spaces for relaxation, socializing, and growing food, or a combination. These community gardens are managed by neighborhood volunteers with Grintham support. Community gardens connect residents with the land and serve multiple purposes depending on the neighborhood context. These gardens support their communities by providing opportunities for open space, fresh produce, recreation, and more. Various approaches have been historically implemented by community gardeners to access water. These approaches are executed with guidance provided by the Grintham program. Approaches include rainwater harvesting, fire hydrants, and connections to adjacent buildings. Reliable water supply is vital for community gardens to thrive. Gardeners use water for many purposes like irrigation of fruit, vegetable, and herb crops, watering chickens, in addition to cleaning and maintaining the garden. Most community gardeners in New York City access water from fire hydrants located outside the garden to irrigate plants and vegetables through a permit process that Grintham facilitates with the New York City Department of Environmental Protection. Each community garden is provided with a hydrant wrench, and volunteers are trained to access the fire hydrant who might not be always available. Low water pressure, malfunctioning valves, poor connections, and leaks are all problems that arise from using fire hydrants as a water resource for community gardens. Additionally, fire hydrants in New York City are often blocked by parked cars, debris, and other obstacles. For pedestrians, hoses create a tripping hazard and interfere with sidewalk traffic. Due to lack of proximity, some gardeners must cross major streets and intersections to obtain access to a fire hydrant for water. Grintham secured funding of over $40 million to provide on-site water supply infrastructure to food-producing community gardens from the 2022 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, also known as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Plan. This funding comes from the Natural Resources Conservation Service, or NRCS, an agency within the United States Department of Agriculture, or USDA. The project will span across the next 6 years in 3 phases: planning, design, and construction. As part of the planning phase, the project team must complete a water supply plan and an environmental impact statement, or an EIS, to adhere to the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA. For a community garden to be considered eligible to receive the federal funding for this project, it must be on New York City Parks property, produce food as of 2023, and not have an existing on-site water supply connection. Presently, there are over 260 gardens that would be eligible to receive a water supply connection. Water supply plan will outline a direct water delivery method to qualifying Greenthorn Community Gardens and assess the benefits of other water supply methods such as rainwater harvesting, fire hydrants, and connections to neighboring buildings. The environmental impact statement will identify and analyze potential beneficial and adverse effects that may result from the project. The environmental impact statement will consider two alternatives and their potential environmental impacts. The first alternative is the no-bill alternative, which implies no federal funding for on-site water supply infrastructure, and therefore community gardens will continue to receive connections from other sources of funding. The second alternative is the project alternative, which implies that a qualifying garden is eligible to receive an on-site water supply system. The purpose of the Water Supply Plan and EIS is to provide dependable and accessible water supply to urban food-producing community gardens. The project will include measures for increasing agricultural water supply efficiency, protecting water quality, and securing dependable water quantity for the community gardens. The primary beneficiaries of the project are urban food-producing community gardens operating under NYC Parks jurisdiction. The project will also benefit the public and urban agricultural community by establishing reliable water supply systems to grow food efficiently and effectively. Installing on-site water supply systems at qualifying food-producing gardens will provide high-quality water source directly from the New York City's municipal water supply. These pipe water connections include a reduced pressure valve and RPZ, also known as backflow preventers. The RPZ valves protect potable water in the city's water system from contamination by allowing water to flow out of the system, but prevent any from flowing back in, thereby blocking any debris or other environmental hazard from entering the city's water supply. Today, a typical installation for an RPZ system ranges from $350,000 to $400,000. Although costs vary depending on materials, garden size, amount of excavation, and more. The project team anticipates over 100 community gardens will receive on-site water supply infrastructure from this grant funding. This current round of funding will not finance all eligible community gardens, but Greenthorn hopes to secure additional resources to support all gardens in the future. RPC devices are typically housed within the garden in a precast concrete structure above the ground. Each garden water supply system will include a water meter, which is below ground, and a hose bib, where the garden hose connects to access the water. The water supply plan will create direct and indirect benefits for gardeners and the community surrounding community gardens, such as securing reliable water access, increasing food productivity, and protecting the New York City water supply. For an environmental impact statement, the project team used a scoping process that identified environmental assessment areas that are relevant to the proposed project planning, design, and construction. The project team determined around 30 assessment areas that must be considered for relevancy during the scoping process. The areas of concern that are anticipated to be applicable to this projects are highlighted in green, including public health, regional water resources, land use, and more. This is a unique project for the Natural Resources Conservation Service due to the urban environment and diversity of community gardens in New York City. The two tiers of assessment issues most relevant to community gardens deal with natural resources and infrastructure and social or community effects. It is anticipated that the environmental impact statement will look at the following natural resources: regional water resources, water supply and quality, soil resources and farmlands, and threatened and endangered species. It is anticipated that the environmental impact statement will look at the following social issues: cultural resources, archaeology and architectural, environmental justice, land use, parklands, public health and safety, and construction-related impacts such as short-term air and noise quality. As part of the cultural resource assessment, the team will undergo the Section 106 process to consider effects of an undertaking on historic properties as stipulated in the planning requirements for this project. The project team is also interested in feedback from the public about the possible environmental concerns. This project is broken into 3 phases. The project is currently in the planning phase. These include 2 formal comment periods, the first of which we are in right now. Following the planning phase, the project will proceed with the design of on-site water supply systems for eligible community gardens, followed by construction. Design and construction of each RPZ system takes approximately 12 to 18 months to complete. This includes planning, permitting, installation, and restoration of areas that are disturbed during installation. This is the scoping meeting to ensure that the public has an opportunity to learn about the proposed project and understand and provide comments on the anticipated scope of environmental assessment. The comment period will be open until June 25, 2024. This presentation will be available on demand for the remainder of the comment period and can be accessed on the Green Thumb website. All comments submitted before the deadline will be considered for the project and put in the public documentation of this plan. There are many ways that you can provide your comments and thoughts. At the in-person event, you can fill out and submit public comment cards. Participants can also present their comments as speakers as the project team will write them down. At any time through the end of the public comments period, participants can use the website links and QR codes to provide comments on the Federal Register or online survey. Participants can also submit their comments via email, postal mail, or voicemail recording. If you would like to follow the project, please visit the project website or sign up to the Green Thumb newsletter. On behalf of the New York City Parks Department, Green Thumb, and the project team, we would like to thank you for participating in the public scoping meeting for the Water Supply Plan and Environmental Impact Statement.